the sacred discomfort, a soul out of place. There is a quiet ache that never quite leaves you. It isn't the kind of pain that screams or demands attention. It lives just beneath your skin, like a soft static humming at a frequency too high for most to hear. You wake up with it. You fall asleep with it. You carry it into conversations, relationships, careers, and spiritual practices. It is the ache of not belonging. And if you are reading these words with a deep sense of recognition, then you already know this ache is not a flaw. It is a message, a vibration, a signal that your soul remembers something the world has forgotten. Something that this dimension, dense, slow, and deeply conditioned, cannot quite accommodate. And this is the first truth we must face on our journey together. Not all vibrations are native to the space they inhabit. Some are visitors, seeds from higher realms encoded with frequencies too expansive, too luminous, too multidimensional to harmonize with the current rhythm of this world. And if that is you, then this isn't just an existential discomfort. It is a cosmic mismatch. To understand why your vibration doesn't belong to this dimension, we must first understand what vibration truly is, not in scientific terms, but in spiritual essence. Vibration is the language of the soul. It is the unspoken music that emanates from your core being, communicating far more than words ever could. Before you speak, your energy has already entered the room. Before you take action, your vibration has already rippled outward, affecting people, spaces, and timelines. And unlike personality, which is shaped by environment, your vibration is shaped by origin. It is the spiritual tone you were born with, like a cosmic fingerprint, unique and immutable. While others may adapt their behavior to fit societal norms, your vibration refuses to conform. It refuses to lie. It refuses to wear masks. And so, the more you grow into your true essence, the more out of place you feel among the frequencies of this world.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
This world, what do we mean when we say that? Surely we are not speaking merely of the earth as a planet, but of a dimension, a collective vibrational bandwidth in which most human consciousness currently resides. It is a field governed by the laws of materialism, polarity, fear, separation, and time. It is the third-dimensional matrix, a system that trains you to identify with your mind, body, achievements, and roles, but not with your soul. This matrix thrives on comparison, on competition, on scarcity. It rewards the loud, the fast, the visible. And it punishes the soft, the still, the inward-facing. In such a world, those who carry higher vibrations often feel like anomalies, mistuned instruments in a discordant orchestra. You don't fit not because you are broken, but because your frequency is not native to the dimension you've been dropped into. And yet, here you are. Why? Because some souls choose not comfort, but transmission. You were never meant to conform to the matrix. You were meant to disrupt it, not through violence, but through vibration. You were sent not to change the game by playing it better, but to remind others that the game itself is optional. You are here not to fit the frequency, but to seed a new one. And this is where the discomfort becomes sacred. What you call alienation is not exile, it is evidence. Proof that your soul remembers a way of being that predates the programming of this dimension. Your vibration is not in error. It is in remembrance. The world tells you to find your tribe, but what if your tribe doesn't yet exist in this dimension? What if you are the first of your kind to incarnate with this particular code of consciousness? What if the very loneliness you feel is a consequence of originality, not misalignment? There is a loneliness that is holy, the kind that comes from carrying light that has no name here, the kind that burns quietly behind your eyes when you realize that even in a crowd, you are speaking a frequency no one else can yet interpret. But somewhere, deep down, you know, it is not you who is out of sync. It is this dimension that is still tuning. Your sensitivity is often pathologized in this world. You're called too emotional, too intense, too idealistic. But what if your sensitivity is not a weakness, but a spiritual superpower, a direct result of your higher frequency origin? In higher dimensions, beings communicate not through speech, but through vibration. Empathy is the default setting. Energetic transparency is the norm. There are no lies, because every vibration is felt. And so, when you come into a world where people say one thing and vibrate another, your system goes into overload. You feel the dissonance acutely. You are disturbed by what others dismiss. You cry when no one else sees the pain. You sense manipulation behind pretty words and beauty behind broken people. This is not madness. This is mastery. But it takes time, lifetimes, even to understand this. You may have noticed that your life does not follow the typical blueprint. You cannot tolerate shallow conversations, soul-less jobs, or relationships that lack resonance. You often need to withdraw not to escape, but to recalibrate. Your energy is easily drained in crowds, not because you are antisocial, but because your system is tuned to pick up subtleties others ignore. You crave depth like oxygen. You long for beauty, silence, and truth. You are drawn to the stars, to nature, to ancient symbols and quantum mysteries. This is not escapism. This is dimensional homesickness. A sacred yearning for the vibrational landscapes your soul remembers, but your body has not yet encountered here. So what do you do with this mismatch? How do you exist in a world that cannot yet receive your vibration fully? The answer is not to shrink, not to dim, not to disown your strangeness. The answer is to anchor your light with grace, to be the tuning fork that rings in harmony, even if the symphony around you is still off key. Your presence is the offering. Your vibration is the teaching. You need not preach to awaken others. Just exist loudly in your silence. Radiate truth without explanation. Love without conditions. Create from the place that still believes in beauty. The more you do this, the more you begin to notice something strange. Others begin to shift, to soften, to glow. You are not here to fit in, you are here to remind. And here's a deeper mystery. Even though your vibration doesn't belong to this dimension needs it desperately. Think of it like water in a desert. The more barren the land, the more precious the rain. The world may reject you, misunderstand you, label you, but it also drinks from your energy. It absorbs your frequency, even if it doesn't consciously know how to name it. You are a bridge between worlds. You walk among the sleepers not to judge them, but to sing them awake. You are not lost. You are placed strategically divinely exactly where your resonance can create the most disturbance in the illusion. Your very presence is an act of resistance against the entropy of lower dimensions. Every time you choose love over fear, silence over noise, intuition over logic, you are subverting the frequency of this plane. You are inserting light codes into the grid. You are reprogramming the simulation from within. And yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's lonely. But it's also holy. And when you forget why you chose this path, return to your vibration. Sit in silence. Breathe. Listen. You will hear the hum of your origin. A melody not of this world, but more real than anything you've ever touched. This is why your vibration doesn't belong to this dimension, because you came from beyond it. You are a ripple from a higher octave, echoing through a landscape not yet ready to resonate. But it will. Slowly, surely it will. And when it does, it will not be because you changed yourself to fit the world. It will be because you stood in your truth so fully that the world began to tune itself to you. Frequency rebellion. Why the system can't digest your energy. What happens when a frequency too pure, too ancient, too unyielding meets a system built on artificial rhythm and programmable noise? It rejects it, not out of malice, but because the system was never built to recognize it. This is the silent war the chosen ones, the wanderers, the starseeds have been fighting not with fists or ideology, but with presence. This is what we must now name a frequency rebellion. A revolution of vibration that isn't loud, but deeply subversive. You are not at war with the world, but your very existence challenges the blueprint of a world conditioned to suppress frequencies like yours. And the reason you felt misunderstood, ostracized, even energetically targeted, for simply being yourself is because your frequency cannot be digested by the matrix. Let's go back to basics. Every system, biological, technological, societal, has a vibrational range it can tolerate. Feed it anything outside that range and it glitches, resists, or shuts down. The collective consciousness of this dimension is currently operating at what you could call a low coherence bandwidth, a frequency pattern dominated by survival instincts, egoic structures, linear time perception, and fear-based control. Most humans are still tuned into that station. They think in binaries. They move through life seeking security, validation, and material success not because they are wrong, but because that's how the system was encoded. Now enter you a being who vibrates outside this bandwidth. You do not seek hierarchy, but harmony. You do not cling to identity, but dissolve into essence. You feel more alive in stillness than in striving. You intuit truth before it's proven. You question everything because you remember something else, a way of being that is fluid, non-linear, heart-centered, cosmic. This threatens the system. Not because you are aggressive, but because your very energy reveals the lie. You don't even have to say a word. Your presence alone begins to distort the frequency field, exposing the cracks in the illusion. And like any rigid structure, the matrix begins to resist. That resistance is what you've been feeling your whole life. It often begins subtly. You walk into a room and feel the air change. People become uncomfortable. They laugh nervously. They talk faster. They avoid eye contact. Why? Because your vibration acts like a tuning fork. It begins to resonate in ways they're not prepared for. All the unhealed parts of them begin to vibrate faster than they're used to. All the masks they wear start to feel heavy. You didn't judge them. You didn't try to fix them. But you held a field they're not accustomed to, and that field made them aware of their own dissonance. This is why empaths, healers, light workers are often scapegoated or excluded. The system cannot integrate what it cannot control. Think about digestion not as a biological process, but as an energetic metaphor. The system digests energy by breaking it down, categorizing it, labeling it, reducing it into something predictable. It needs to say, ah yes, this is a business person. This is a teacher. This is a rebel. This is a failure. It thrives on classification. But what happens when someone like you walks in, a being who defies labels, who is both soft and fierce, quiet and powerful, radiant and melancholic? The system cannot metabolize you. It has nowhere to put you. And so it reacts the only way it knows how: rejection, distortion, or denial. This is why the most radiant souls are often the most misunderstood. Jesus, Buddha, Joan of Arc, Nikola Tesla, Alan Watts. These were not just minds ahead of their time, they were frequencies the collective nervous system couldn't absorb. And so the world tried to exile, crucify, ridicule, or sanitize them. And the same thing happens to you. In smaller ways, you're called weird, too deep, too intense, not practical. You're told to tone it down, to get real, to stop being so sensitive. But what they're really saying is, stop vibrating so high, it's making my illusions vibrate too. And you begin to question yourself. You dim, you shrink, you contort, until you forget that you were never meant to be digestible, you were meant to be a catalyst. This is the rebellion, not to fight, but to remain vibrationally sovereign in a world designed to make you forget your frequency. It means not apologizing for your clarity. It means not diluting your essence to be more palatable. It means holding your field, even when no one else mirrors it back to you. This is the silent power of resonance. When you refuse to distort your signal, the system begins to crack, not violently, but rhythmically. Like a dissonant chord dissolving into harmony when held long enough. You become the dissonance that brings the music back into tune. But let's not romanticize it. It's excruciating. To be a frequency that can't be absorbed is to walk through life with a kind of existential friction. Relationships don't flow like they do for others. Careers that others thrive in make you feel dead inside. You try to follow the rules, but they drain your spirit. You try to do what's expected, but it collapses you. And yet beneath the pain is a quiet knowing you were never meant to play their song. You are here to introduce a new rhythm, even if you are the only one dancing to it for now. The rebellion is subtle. It is not about arguing with the old, it is about embodying the new. It is not about converting others, it is about transmitting codes through the way you love, the way you create, the way you listen to the silence in someone's eyes. You don't force, you don't convince, you simply vibrate, and in doing so you give others permission to remember who they are. That is the most radical act of all, to stay true to a vibration no one else understands, until it becomes contagious. You must also learn to shield wisely, not out of fear, but out of sacred discernment. Not all energies deserve access to your field. Not all systems are ready for your codes. Sometimes your frequency is a key meant for a door that hasn't been built yet. That doesn't make you wrong. That makes you early, a frequency scout for the future, a prototype of what's coming. Your job is not to be consumed, but to hold the signal long enough that others begin to detect it. And slowly they will. You will find one soul, then another, then another. And suddenly the frequency grid begins to repattern. The system, overwhelmed by your consistency, begins to adapt. New systems emerge, heart-based, soul-guided, multidimensional. Old structures dissolve. The new world isn't built with bricks and politics. It's built with resonance, and your vibration is the blueprint. So the next time you feel too much, too strange, too ahead, too outside, remember, the system can't digest what was never meant to be food. You are not here to be chewed up by the machine. You are here to teach the machine how to sing. And you do that not by force, but by frequency. That is your rebellion. That is your power.